Hello everyone, this is 14SilverX, and this is the first video for the game making club on using Gamemaker 8.1 or 8.0, depending on where we've gotten so far. So we are going to start making our scrolling shooter that I described in the club. So the first thing that we went over was making a sprite. So to make a sprite, you just go up to the red Pac-Man and click on it. You'll instantly create a new sprite in your sprites folder. Then the create a sprite window will pop up and you will name your sprite. And our first sprite that we are going to make is the picture for our main player spaceship that we're going to use in our game. So I'm going to name this sprite Spaceship 1. Now I'm going to make a new sprite using edit sprite and creating a new picture. Our sprite is just going to be 32 by 32, which is the default. And I'm not going to go through graphics right now. So right now we're just going to make our sprite a green square and put the origin at the center of the sprite. Alright, so now we've created a green square. This will represent our spaceship. Later we can go back and edit the sprite to make it look like a spaceship, but right now we're just going to go into making the game first, and then we'll clean it up later. Alright, so now we made our spaceship, and first we want a place to put our spaceship in. So we need to make a new room, and remember the room is the screen the player can see. So here's our room. We can move it around. But I don't have any objects to put in it. So we're just going to close a room, and now we're going to make a new object. This object will be our spaceship, or our player. So this will be player 1. Actually, it's easier that way. And its sprite will be spaceship 1. So right now we have a object that is our player, and that can be placed into the room by clicking. So now we have our spaceship in the room, but right now it doesn't do anything. Alright, so our first goal is to make our spaceship move. There are a couple ways to do this, but I'm going to show you the easy and will cause less error way. So with our objects we have events and actions. Events are stuff that will happen, like if I press a key, if I click on it, if it touches something, and whenever this event happens, it will cause actions. So to make our spaceship move left and right, we're going to have when the left keyboard key is pressed, we want it to do something. Now, right here we have our move actions, our jump, a path, and steps. These are all in the move. And we want to make our spaceship move. Now, what you can do is you can either make our spaceship move in the direction and you just press one of these buttons. The only problem is once it starts moving, it doesn't stop. And that's a problem because then you have to make an extra event, so it just makes things complicated. Instead, we're going to use the jump event. Now, right here, it will show an X and Y position. What this means, it will jump to this point in our room. So right now, if we set it to 0, 0, if we go into our room, if you notice down here, it shows you the X and Y where your mouse is. 0, 0 is right here. So every time we press the left key, our object will instantly warp up here. And we don't want that. So instead, there's this relative box here. And relative means from its current position. So if we want our player to move left, which is in this direction, we want to set the X to a negative number. I'm going to set it to -5 for now. So that means from this position, it's going to jump to a X value that is 5 less than where it is. So it's going from here and then subtract 5 along the X axis. So it's going to end up around here every time we press and hold the left key. So now we want to do the same thing except for the right. What we can do is we can duplicate it, go back to our keyboard, go to right, and just change the negative number to a positive number. Now in the room, the x-axis is plus going right, negative going left, which is the standard if you have math. But with the y-axis, plus is going down, negative is going up. So if you think about it, everything that's plus is what you can see. So anything that's visible or on screen is plus. Anything that's off screen is minus. So this would be negative x, negative y. This would all be positive. So if we test out our game, we can now use the left and right keys to make our player move side to side. Now we want our player to move up and down. So we go back to our player, and we can duplicate this again, except we're going to use the up. Now, if x was left and right, now we're going to use y. So instead, set the x to 0, and to go up, remember that would be moving towards the off-screen area, so we're going to set the y value to negative 5. Then we can duplicate that, and change the y to a positive value. Now when we run our game, we can move up, down, left, and right. Now what you couldn't do if you had used one of the move actions is move diagonal when you press two keys at once. If you press two keys at once, one will be dominant over the other and it will move along an axis. It wouldn't move diagonal. So this is the big advantage of the jump event. Alright, so we have gotten our player to move. Now, we want to edit the background of our room because right now it's pretty dull. I'm going to make a space game, so I'm going to make my background more with black and stars. So in the create a new background, you have the create a background screen, just like the sprite one. But now I'm going to make it look like it's space. So, I'm going to put that. It's not perfect, I'm just going to add some dots. That's good enough. And then we go to our room, and there's a tab called Background. Now, we have no background selected, so I'm going to use this background. So when we run our game, we now have a space background. The only problem is, it doesn't look like we're moving at all until we move, but even if we stand still, it doesn't look like we're moving. So we're going to create the simulation of motion, or the illusion of motion. So right here is the background speed. This is how fast the background will scroll. So we want the y value, and we want it to scroll downward, so we're going to set it to a positive number. Check that. Oh, my bad. Right here, if you expand your view, you have the horizontal and vertical speed. And if you set the vertical speed to a positive number, it will start scrolling down. So now we have the illusion of movement. That if you just stand still, it looks like we are moving through space. You can set the speed faster. And that creates more of a more serious looking, I guess, space environment. So that's good for now. So right now we've created a sprite, created an object to go with our sprite, put our object in the room, and we made it move. We also put a background into our room, so we gave our object the illusion of motion. Next time we are going to make more, we're going to start making enemies. And yeah, So we'll go over that on the next episode. Don't forget to save your game. It's the most important part. Oh no. My game 1. Save. I forgot to put the GM, but oh well. And yeah, don't forget to rate and subscribe. And happy gaming.